You are welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you a step-by-step way and the best way by which you can preserve your tomatoes. In this method, there's no need for cooking, there's no need for refrigerator or freezer as the case may be, and it's less stressful, and of course the tomato will last even longer. Yes, so the first step of course is to get your tomato, the ripe tomato. And one of the reasons I do this is actually because this type of tomato, particular type I'm using, which is known as Royal, is not always available all year round, but well, for me it is the one I like most. So you can do this for any other type of tomato. So you get your tomato and you wash it thoroughly. You wash under the running tap. Remember, I told you that in this method it is less stressful and there is no need for boiling or cooking. You are not going to use any gas, cooking gas or charcoal as the case may be. In the other method where you have to boil, might have to boil, cook and keep in a jar, and if not properly done for that method, it might still get spoiled. But this method, trust me, it is very good. I've tried it for my onions and I'm really enjoying my onions now. I bought it when it was very cheap and now I'm enjoying it. So for this method, you get some 2 or 3 plates. One should be a bowl because we are going to cut the tomato into 2. Yes, you cut the tomato into 2 equal halves, and then we are going to remove the inner part, which is the watery part that contains the seed, and keep in another clean container. Mind you, no part of the tomato is going to be wasted. We are going to use everything. Yes, every part of this tomato is going to be useful for you. But of course, for this method, which is the drying method, all you require is if you have at least 3 to 4 hours sunlight in a day. So within 2 to 3 days, you have your dry and crunchy tomato with all the nutrients still intact. Yes, unlike the boiling method, you would have performed over boiling on it, and aside that, some of it might even grow muco or get sour depending on the weather. So all you need is at least 3 hours of sunlight within 2 to 3 days. And if there is no sunlight, you can use a dehydrator. Yes, you can also dry the tomato with dehydrator. So for this method, we are going to remove the inner part into another container where we remove the seed and the inner watery part. And like I said, no part is going to be wasted because we are going to use the inner part. So just watch till end and you will know what I'm going to do with the inner part, which is actually nutritious, by the way. So we are going to use just the flesh. So that is the flesh. One of the nutritional values of tomato is the presence of vitamin C and also the unique pigment, the unique compound called lycopene. Yes, lycopene. I have a video made on tomato for you to know the nutritive value. But the problem with the method we are used to, the method of preserving tomato, which is boiling and keeping in a jar or keeping in a refrigerator, we have overboiled the vitamin C in it. Yes, and also the lycopene. So in this method, the only time this tomato is going to go through boiling is when you want to use it to make your stew, your soup, or to garnish your food. So there will be less heat on this except the direct heat from sunlight, which doesn't actually reduce the presence or the quantity and the quality of the compound called lycopene and vitamin C. Make sure you slice it as thinly as possible. Of course, if you want to protect your finger, you can use your chopping board, which is actually the better alternative. So you can chop this on the board, but make sure you slice it as thin as possible. Do not make the tomato slices to be too thick to allow for easy drying. Okay, so aside drying it under the sun, you can also dry using a dehydrator. So you slice thinly, as thinly as possible. And of course, you don't have to worry about whether there is electricity or not, in case you are used to keeping it in the freezer and having headache or heart attack when there is no power supply. So you can see I have them all well sliced, and the next step is to sun dry. I'm going to do the first batch in a tray. The first step you must do is to salt the place where you want to dry it. Just a little amount of salt, yes. And of course, if you are hypertensive or you are scared of salt, never worry. In this method, putting the tomato under the sun, although it is being salted, several of it will be evaporated. Yes, salt melts in the sun. So at the end of the second or third day, you have lesser amount of salt in the tomato, and it will prevent growth, yes, overnight growth, because it most likely will not get dry the first day you are going to try this. So you are going to prevent the growth of microorganism by putting salt. You just sprinkle little amount of salt, and make sure you don't allow the tomato slices to overlap. Make sure you spread them as thinly as possible. So you just spray some little amount of salt on it. Again, never mind, most of the salt will get evaporated. So you can see I have them here all laid out. This is all the tomato from the basket. Yes. And if you are using a dehydrator, there is no need for you to salt it, because it's going to get dried within 20 to 24 hours in the dehydrator. So the essence, the purpose of the salting is just because it won't dry on the first. So at the end of each day, make sure you don't allow the tomato to sit outside. Make sure you pack it in maybe by 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. and you keep it. The best time to do this is during weekend. You start on Friday or Saturday, and by the head of Sunday you have your dried tomato. So you repeat the drying the next day, that is the second day, and probably the third day, until it is dry and crunchy. You don't need to add salt again. And if you don't put salt at the end of the first day, the next day it will already have some microbial growth. So the best thing is for you to salt it, and when you want to use it to cook, there won't be need for you to salt it. So it's only on the first day you salt this. I'm just repeating the beginning, just showing you the beginning of the process. So I'm not salting it on the following or subsequent day. So this is what I have at the end of the third day. Yes, so it took approximately about 10 to 11 hours of sunlight. So about 5 hours or 6 hours the first day, and then another 5 hours the second day, because the sun was very hot here. It's about 30 to 31 degrees Celsius. So if you are living in an environment where you have higher temperature, well, better for you. And if it is lower, okay. So it's dry and crunchy. So you get a plastic bag, you put it in an airtight nylon, and then you pack it in batches. You can see the tomatoes are crunchy. So whenever you want to use these tomatoes, all you need to do is just to soak it in water for few hours. Better still, you soak it overnight and then you grind the next day. If you want to use it to dish or to garnish your jollof rice or any other meal, all you need is to just put a little bit inside the food, about when the food is about 5 minutes or so to finish, and you see you have your full-blown tomato. I will definitely make a video on how I normally use this. So you just soak in water with the other pepper and onions, whether dried or fresh one, especially when it is expensive. Okay, so you just dry this and it still have the same taste. It will still have the same taste as almost the fresh tomato, and this is better than the refrigerated one or the boiled one, because I've been trying that for several years, for more than a decade. But when I started this, I feel better about it, and I did it for onions especially. So please, if you have watched this video this far, I want you to please make sure you click the right like button, and if you are yet to subscribe, please, I would like you to do so. Don't forget we still have the inner parts. Yes, this was the one I did before. I have this for long now, so I'm adding to my stock since tomato is very affordable right now. So I'm saving my tomato for the raining days. Just keep it in an airtight container. Yes, it's better you keep it in a nylon so that it doesn't absorb moisture, especially during the raining season. So you first keep it in the nylon. And of course, the people in the northern part of Nigeria, this is how they preserve the cayenne pepper, the grounded pepper that we heat. So I found out I can do the same thing for tomato. I tried it for tomato, I tried this for onions, and I use it in cooking my stew, my soup, and I realized they are no different at all. In fact, it is better than the refrigeration method. Yes, it has a better taste, it has a fresher taste. So please make sure you try this, and I want you to come and testify. So now back to the inner part that I remove. Yes, the inner watery part. You don't throw it away. We are going to blend this. Yes, you put this in a blender with a seed, you blend it thoroughly, and then you are going to have a nice juice. You can either use it to make your stew or your soup, yes, or you keep it in the bottle. You remember I said tomato, fresh tomato, well ripened tomato contain what is called lycopene. I've made a video on that. Lycopene is very good. It's what I use to keep my skin fresh and shining. You can eat your tomato directly, but make sure it is a very ripe tomato, not an unripe tomato. If you contain a green part in it, don't eat it yet until it is ripe. So I make my tomato juice like this. It's good for kids, it's good for adults. Yes, it helps to rejuvenate your skin, it helps to prevent cancer. It is really great for your eye. Yes, if you want to have a great eyesight at any age, tomato juice, ripe tomato juice is very good. At the end of this video, I'm going to drop a link to the video I made solely for fresh tomato, so you can watch it for you to know. So you can use this to make your stew, you can add your pepper, your onions to eat, or you can use it as a juice. I gave this to my kid, to one of my kids, and she really loved the taste. Tomato juice is very good. It's even good for those who are battling with fibroid. Yes, it's one of the fruits you can take to melt fibroid. So I hope you enjoy this video. Please make sure you click the like button. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.